What is up, everybody? My name is still Justin Latta. I know we haven't done this podcast in a while, but it's Guardians of the Future. Welcome to 2025. Thank you for tuning in. I know we used to do this a lot more often, but hey, life happens, and I've got another podcast I host 5 days a week. It's Locked On Guardians. You can check that out free everywhere you get podcasts, on YouTube and audio, and free ad-free on Amazon Music as well, all that good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while. Happy to have you here. Happy to get 2025 kicked off and talk some prospect stuff. Got some news for you at the end to update you on, to talk about some content I'm doing over at Next Year in Cleveland. I'd love for you to subscribe at nextyearincleveland.substack.com. We're going to talk about the Guardians prospect non-roster invitees today for 2025, some spring training prospects to watch. We'll go back to some off-season thoughts as well, and then I'll give you a little bit of an update on some projects I am working on if you're interested. So let's get started. The non-roster invitees for the Guardians this year. A lot of prospects, some interesting stuff. A couple guys who are returning. So we got returning in Tanner Burns, who was there last year. Mason Hickman, who was there last year. Jack Leftwich, who was there a year ago as well. And Andrew Misiasek is making his first appearance in Major League Spring Training. Probably would have been a lot sooner for Andrew had he not gotten hurt. He's coming off 1 year move to Tommy John now, so we'll see how he looks coming back. We've got Ryan Webb and Will Dion and Bradley Hanner are kind of the pitchers that stand out in that group among minor leaguers. So I talked a little bit about Bradley Hanner on Locked On Guardians, but Bradley Hanner impressed a lot of people in Akron last year. Very high spin breaking ball, 92, 94 fastball. There's some walks there. Former minor league Rule 5 pick. Cleveland had Connor Gillespie and Eric Sabrowski make their major league debuts in 2024 as former minor league Rule 5 draft picks. So that's a good base, a good example for Bradley Hanner. And people really liked him stuff. He took over as the closer for Andrew Walters in Akron a year ago. And the other guy, Ryan Webb, didn't get added to the 40-man roster over the offseason, did not go in the Rule 5 draft. He should be pretty motivated going into spring training to prove himself. Is going to need more of a fastball. There's a good curveball. He has feel for a changeup. Durability is a concern. He's a little bit older. This is a big spring training for him to get the invite and as a non-roster player. And just a guy who needs to, put himself on the radar, because I think he probably thought, A, he deserved to be on the 40, or B, deserved to go in the Rule 5 draft, and he didn't. So he should be pretty motivated. Should be a lot of fun. For catcher, I'm really excited about Cooper Engel and Cody Huff being there. Cody Huff had a really strong Arizona Fall League this offseason. Not really an offensive type catcher. Really a defense first. But remember, he was Baseball America's California League Catcher of the Year, and that was voted on by coaches in the California League before he got traded to Cleveland, so comes with a good defensive background and had some really good exit velocity data in the Arizona Fall League. And we always caution people to pay attention or, beware of stats that come out of the Arizona Fall League for hitters, because it's a very hitter-friendly environment. Cody Huff had good exit velocities. That is something that, is not really outcome stat dependent. It's a thing you either do or do not well. Now, the caveat with that is pitching in the Arizona Fall League, usually not very good. You get your Ryan Webbs, you get your Dylan DeLucia, who came back from Tommy John and missed time this year. He didn't have the best Arizona Fall League, but those are the kind of guys you tend to get there. So, beware a little bit about how well guys perform, but the exit velocity is good to see. We know it's in there. That's good to see. So super excited for Cody Huff. Cooper Engel obviously was the Midwest League MVP last year. Had great numbers offensively. Some room to grow defensively, and this will be a good spring training for him to be at Major League wise. He'll have a great chance to talk with Austin Hedges and just be around all of those guys as a non-roster invitee, and they need catchers badly. So this is a good invite for him. The big one here in the outfield, the infield, I will say the infield is pretty lackluster. Diane Frias is on this list. Was a really good prospect coming into last year after a strong 2023 in Lake County High A. got to Double A and really struggled. So I'm kind of curious where things go for him. I'm not as high on him as I was. Micah Breeze on the list. He was there last year. Must mean he's back on a minor league deal with the Guardians because he was a minor league free agent. Milan Tolentino, who played in the Arizona Fall League, he's there. Yordys Valdez, first time invite for him. Guy who at one time showed some promise with the bat, but really is a glove first guy and needs to get better with the bat. And then Will Wilson, who they got in the minor league Rule 5 draft, former first round pick. Will Wilson was the Angels' first round pick, and the Giants traded for Zach Cozart, who at the time had a very unfriendly team deal, who was really struggling. And the Giants agreed to pick up Zach Cozart's contract in order to get a hold of Will Wilson as a prospect, and the Angels did not pass that up. They wanted to get rid of Cozart's contract, and they were willing to give up Will Wilson. Wilson has struggled at shortstop. He's got power, but he struggled to hit, so it's an interesting minor league pickup for them up the middle. In the outfield, I'll save the most obviously interesting for last. Khalil Watson on this list. He is a guy that looks like he's now an outfielder. Played plenty at second base last year. He's played third. He's played short. Mostly second base and left field and some center. They've got him listed as an outfielder, so I kind of wonder if this is a full transition now, which he started last spring training when I was there. George Valera on the list, but I wouldn't expect to see him in any games. He is a guy who is recovering from that knee injury. Obviously, I know he's doing some activities on a bike. Looks like he's recovering well. Good for him, but I don't expect to see him in spring training. And then obviously, this will be Chase DeLauder's first invite to Major League spring training. I know what you're thinking. He was up in spring training all of 2024 with the team, and he was, but he wasn't there as official non-roster invitee. He was there as a guy up from camp who they wanted to be around the big league club every day, work out with them, and kind of be with those veterans. This year, he's officially there all the time. Now, he is not on the 40-man roster, so he doesn't be sent down. No options here, but he is in Major League spring training. So I expect him to get a longer look this year. I don't know if he's going to make the team out of spring training. There's not a lot of precedent for it. But I do expect him to get a longer look. That'll be exciting. A lot of people were kind of hoping to see Travis Bazzana on this list. He is not. That could change, but as of right now, he's not, and I don't think it will change, to be honest. But expect him to get the Chase DeLauder treatment. I explained this on Locked On Guardians on Thursday as well. Expect him to get the Chase DeLauder treatment where he is up with the Major League club, for as an extra guy in games, so maybe play some. But you'll see him in Major League games. I'm confident of that. But he is not going to be a official invitee to spring training as of now. But I think you'll see him in games, and he'll be up as long as they think it's beneficial for him to be around, because they've got other guys to look at. I mentioned on Locked On Guardians, the second base battle is something they got to look into. So you're going to see a lot of Juan Brito this spring. I don't know how much you'll see of Angel Martinez at second base. They haven't really been talking him up at second base. So I don't know if he's going to be in that battle at all. And then there's, Freeman, Schneemann, Arias, whatever. So second base is up in the air, right? Let's talk about some other prospects that are going to be coming to spring training that are not, they're on the 40-man roster that we should look at. Obviously, Doug Nikhazy is going to be on in Major League spring training. He ended up getting the nod on the 40-man roster over the offseason. Big spring training for him. So obviously last year he made some changes to his delivery. He's no longer that high over the top arm slot. He's more out here, wide 3/4. It helped him a little bit. He gained velocity. He's more 90, 93, 94 now, as opposed to being, 89, 92, 94. So he's raised his velocity floor a little bit, which is good. Control was still a bit of an issue. The walks were a little bit high. We'll see if in the second year at AAA and in Major League spring training, if A, his mechanical changes take root, and B, if he can get used to the Major League ball. And I don't understand why. I would love for someone in Major League Baseball to explain this, but from rookie ball down in Arizona, or even the Dominican Republic, I guess, to AA, they use one baseball. It is not the Major League Baseball. It's different. I don't know why. When you get to AAA, they start using the Major League Baseball. And Cleveland admitted this offseason that these pitchers seem to be going through some adjustments to the Major League ball. We've seen it with Andrew Walters, Logan Allen, Joey Cantillo, Tristan McKenzie going back to the minor leagues. A lot of guys, Nikhazy here, a lot of guys struggle with it the first time. They have to get used to it. They thought maybe it was a mental block, but now they think it's the ball, which I don't understand that at all. So year 2 of that, year 2 mechanics, this will be a really big spring training for him. It's a big spring training for Will Dion. Obviously, I'm former friend of the show here, or still friend of the show, but former guest. Not as high on him coming into 2024 or 2025 because he struggled last year, and maybe that was the AAA ball. Well, I guess we'll find out. But I was expecting a little more velocity. He reworked his mechanics because he was having some knee issues, as he explained to us on last year's show around this time. But his velocity was still not enough at AAA. So I think we're going to have to see what comes to him. This is a big year for him in spring training. For relievers, I talked about Misiazek, obviously Burns and Hickman. Misiazek still, possibly a chance as a lefty depth guy. Burns and Hickman, I don't see much for at this point. I mentioned, I like Hanner. Leftwich has been here before, but he is sort of running in the wrong direction at age 26. So I'm a little concerned about him. But Franco Aleman is on the 40-man roster. This will be a really good spring for him to be in Major League camp. He never really got into a Major League game last year, even on the days he was up. Now he's in the 40. And Cleveland has talked in the past about how they want him to work on his, I don't know if it's durability or availability. I guess it's kind of the two. But being more available, working in between games on his routines so that he, in 2023, his breakout year, if you go and look at the game logs, Franco Aleman was like pitching every 4 or 5 days. Like he was a starter, but he was a reliever. And yeah, Cleveland talked about availability was a big issue with him, and they wanted him to work on being more available. So, I constantly harped on Andrew Walters last year, hadn't gone back to back in the minors, and they won't bring him up till they do that. And then they brought him up, and he never did that. And then, 2 of the first 3 times he pitched in back-to-back days. So I won't say Franco Aleman needs to pitch in back-to-back games before making his major league debut this year, but I do think there's an availability thing he's going to have to work on. We know he is not a strong fielder. We know that he is not good at holding runners on. He was injured last year. So Franco Aleman, really looking to see what happens for him in Major League spring training. 2 outfielders, too, I should mention, that are going to be new to spring training this year. I know Petey Halpin has gotten a Major League invite before, but this year he's on the 40-man roster. I was very surprised by this one. And I understand that teams might have checked in on him as a Rule 5 guy because he's a 4th, 5th outfielder who can run and play defense, and that's valuable off the bench. And maybe they can stash him and see what happens. So I get that. I have a hard time believing he would stick on a full season roster. That's the whole point here. Is the guy going to stick? Now, Cleveland is not having a really tight 40-man situation, so it's not as big a deal. So they decided to go for it. I get that. But this will be his first Major League spring training officially as a 40-man roster guy. And the big thing for him is the last couple of years, he's undergone multiple swing changes, different stances, different loads. Hopefully he's picked one. Hopefully he's been with one comfortably. Got hurt at the end of last year, showed some promise. He needs a fully healthy year, I think, even though it's his first option year as a 40-man member. But he's been 2 years in AA. He's 22 now. This will be a big year for him, and it's a big spring training for him to impress. And then Jonathan Rodriguez is another one I'm really looking at, too, because on Monday's Locked On Guardians, we're going to look at the Zips, which is the Dan Zaborski projections over on Fangraphs. I'll just say Zips really likes him. They think he's a possibly a productive hitter for the Guardians Major League team. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but look, he's got Chase Lauder in camp right now. He has nobody else. There's Brennan and Noel in right field, right? Lane Thomas can slide over to center for now, and Will Brennan hasn't exactly wowed, and Jhonkensy Noel might see time at first base, and he's not really a traditional outfielder, whatever. This is a big spring for Jonathan Rodriguez. He's got 2 options left, so it's not like it's his last option year, but with Chase Lauder breathing down his neck, if he can stay healthy, that's a big if, right? I think it's imperative for Jonathan Rodriguez to really play with some fire this spring, and spring training stats. Look, don't put any money into those things, especially for prospects. Always go to baseball references quality of opposition score in spring training. They measure experience of the guys they're facing, so it's always important to see. But projection systems like Rodriguez, he had another good year at AAA last year. I'm very skeptical, I will say, of the profile, but it's a big spring training for him to impress. I think with all these factors I just mentioned, I think he's got to impress this year. He's 25. It's time to get off the pot, so to speak, on this one. So I think it's a big spring training for Jonathan Rodriguez. I think that's about it for spring training. I've covered everybody in terms of the minors. It's coming up there. That should really cover it. And you got Eric Sabrowski in camp on the 40. Nick Enright. This will be great for him. Nick Enright finally gets to go to Major League Spring Training with the Guardians. He deserves it. Has battled through cancer and missed his opportunity in Miami when he was a Rule 5 pick. Big for him. So we'll see. I will note that I haven't seen an official announcement yet anywhere, but James Harris did tell me at the end of last year, at the end of November, that they were expecting 2025 to be the last option year on John Kenzie Noel, giving him a fourth option season, along with George Valera, who did get it. George Valera did get that. The Noel one, they at the time were saying they were hopeful it was going to be his last option year, but they would see. I haven't seen an official announcement yet, but I think it'll happen. But I really would like to see on that one. But we'll see on Noel, who I'm not sure is a prospect anymore. Let's do some winter wrap up here. I'm excited for this year because we've got some new out of the organization prospects that are new to the system from the Andres Gimenez trade. And let's start with Nick Mitchell, who has some speed, some contact, was a young player, was really interesting in college, was the Blue Jays, I believe it was an early round pick for him in 2024. I'm sorry. It was a comp pick in the 4th round out of Indiana. So, really well liked. There's some hit tool there. There's, like I said, speed, defense. Could be kind of a corner outfield with defense and speed, but need to see more from him a little bit. But he had a good start to last year. So I think he'll join the outfield at Lake County. By the way, in a way too early look at Lake County outfield, we've got Nick Mitchell, who I'm interested in for sure. We should have Jason Churio, who was literally days, hours away from being promoted to Lake County for that playoff run before they won the championship in the Midwest League. And he broke his wrist in Lynchburg. Literally, we're talking hours. He was assigned to go up the next couple of days. So Churio starts the year with a clean bill of health in Lake County as the center fielder, I would assume. You're going to have Mitchell. You'll have Wilfredo Antunez back, who I do kind of like a little bit. He's interesting. Then there's Alfonso Rosario, who I'll get to in a little bit too. I want to talk about him. That's a really fun sounding outfield at Lake County to start the year. You should have Tommy Hawk. I think Ryan Cesarini could be there too. He is an interesting guy to keep an eye on. So Lake County, a very interesting outfield, I think, going into 2025. Be excited for that. I'm definitely excited to get out there and watch that. As far as the other guys, the pitchers, I think this was, I know the Gimenez trade wasn't popular, and I get why, in terms of the team giving up on money and not willing to pay a player who definitely could help the team in 2025. Let's not make any excuses there. But in terms of the return, the Major League thing, Luis Ortiz is I'm really intrigued by him. You can go listen to my thoughts on that on Locked On Guardians. But we've talked about Michael Kennedy and Josh Hartle. Josh Hartle last year, and coming into the 2024 college season at Wake Forest, everyone thought he might be like a top 10, top 20 pick. He was a safe college arm, people thought, in the first round. And the fastball wasn't all that quality. It was 90, 92, 94, but it was solid. It was solid with a cutter, with a slider, with a couple of secondaries, a field of pitch, control, command, all that stuff. And coming from Wake Forest, great pedigree, even though Wake Forest pitchers haven't exactly panned out as much as you would like to think. But, good pedigree. And it looks like he just got out of whack at Wake Forest in 2024. He was trying too hard to throw throw harder. And it altered his delivery. And it just got him away from being him. And the pitch mix wasn't there. I think Pittsburgh even, but Cleveland for sure has already addressed these issues. So I think that Josh Hartle's due for a big rebound year. And this just seems like the kind of pitcher Cleveland really excels with. I do worry there's some potential Jeremy Sowers here, but Hartle is much bigger than Sowers. He's more physical. The fastball's been better. The secondaries are better. So I'm really excited about Josh Hartle. Kennedy also, to me, is like a low high school version of Logan Allen. Like it's a very short, compact delivery, a short, compact build. There's a good changeup. There's a good slider, command, low 90s fastball. It worked with Logan Allen all throughout the minors, and then there was a hiccup in major leagues. We'll see what they get back with him in 2025, but I think Kennedy follows the same path, and I think your high A rotation in Lake County is going to be super, super fun. I think you're getting, you should get Jackson Humphreys in high A, I would think this year. Michael Kennedy, Josh Hartle, Dylan DeLucia, Yorman Gomez, maybe Rafe Schlesinger from Miami, a couple of college kids. High A rotation should be really fun again, I will say. All the rotations, honestly, the rotations going into this year should be a lot of fun, right? We've got at AAA, you're going to have Austin Peterson, Doug Nikhazy, Joey Cantillo. You might have Logan Allen and Slade Ciccone, depending on how spring training shakes out. You'll have Ryan Webb, right? Possibly Aaron Davenport. I would hope Austin Peterson's going to AAA. If you've listened to me here or Locked On Guardians, you know I'm a big Austin Peterson stan right now. There's a lot of guys that should be interesting at AAA. AA, you're going to get a repeat maybe of guys like Messick, and then you might get Tugboat, Denholm, Reed Johnson should be healthy, Carter Spivey, solid, good top three, depending on how things shake out. And then single A with Lynchburg, one of the most interesting teams last year. This coming year, we should see Braylon Dowdy, some of the draft picks like maybe Aiden Major coming off of Tommy John, although he could take a while. You could have Caden Favors there. A couple of other high school guy or college guys from Arizona, Cam Walty could be in that mix. You should have, Sean Matson, Joe Yoki, Cameron Sullivan all competing. Maybe Jacob Zibin. We're hoping for Justin Campbell. It's been a couple years for him. Don't ask me about Daniel Espino. The last I heard on Daniel Espino was they would know more coming into camp about his throwing program, but he is on a throwing program, which is great. So TBD on that coming in, but rotations all look interesting and not great. You got your high school picks that are lower. I'm excited for guys like Kennedy and Hartle and Peterson, but then your Dowdies, your Okies, your Sullivans, those guys. Hopefully they're coming to Mobley. I shouldn't forget Chase Mobley. Hopefully they're going to low A. The example of that is Alex Clemmy a year ago went to low A, so hopefully that's the case. We'll see. And then there's Alfonso and Rosario, the Eli Morgan trade. I will say initially I was really excited about Alfonso and Rosario. I almost said Alfonso Soriano. That would be great. He should go to high A with the rest of that group, but if I'm being honest, the swing is kind of grooved. He misses a lot in the zone because his bat is not adjustable. So if it's in the zone, like over the plate in his bat path, if he's in Lake County, watch out on Vine Street. But anything else in the zone or out of the zone, he doesn't chase a ton. Not terrible for a guy his age and level, but anything else that's not in his bat path, it might as well be a swing and miss. So I need to work on his adjustability with his swing. But I'm interested. Kudos to the Guardians for trading an asset like Eli Morgan and turning it into a piece in their system that they don't really have, which is a high potential, high risk reward type in Alfonso and Rosario. And who knows? Maybe he has a good year and they trade him and he ends up being a trade asset. That would be a win too. Guardians announced their international signing class on Wednesday, January 15th. January 15th signing class. I talked about this on Locked On Guardians on Thursday. It's a lackluster class. It's been a lackluster year internationally. And Cleveland loves their Venezuelan left-handed catchers, even though the last one they actually got to the majors was Victor Martinez, which was a long time ago. They spent some money and time on other guys that just haven't worked out. I don't know why they keep going to this well, and they keep going to the well of contact first, up the middle players, and all guys don't say it's short, but you know what? We've had the Martinezes, the Rocchios, the Brachos, there's Francisca, there's Dever, there's a whole bunch of guys, right? They take a very safe, conservative approach to these international classes. I don't think this year is any exception, and I don't think it's worked for them. I don't. So I don't tend to pay a lot of attention to those guys because I haven't seen them in person, so I don't want to really try to tell you guys something I don't know, unless I know for sure, outside of like grainy Instagram videos and whatever else. Wherever videos will be on social media these days, God only knows. And then there's no data. There's no reliable data on them. So it's just very hard unless I'm reading other people's scouting reports, in which case I don't want to, because I want to do my own work. And I think that's where I add value to you being a Guardians fan, a prospect fan. So I don't really dive into the weeds too much on international guys unless it's a special circumstance. And that leads me to my final thing for today is the updates on the prospect list. So the reason I've been pretty silent recently, going back to the end of this 2024 year and on the website at nextyearincleveland.substack.com, is because I'm hard at work on my prospect list right now. I'm going through my write-ups, trying to get my scouting reports done and my numbers assigned and all that stuff. I don't have a ranking yet, but I'm getting there. And the thing I'm really excited about, I hope you're excited about too, is I'm going to do a PDF style ebook this year. So I'm going to have stuff on the website as normal, all that stuff, but I'm going to do a PDF ebook this year. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to do all my work on the prospect list, and it's going to be in the ebook, PDF style. And you're going to get it if you want it. I'm going to charge for it because I'm putting extra work into this, but it'll be worth it. And it's going to be all my write-ups, like usual, all my rankings, all my grades and stuff. But it's also going to have a quick recap on the draft a year ago. It's also going to have a section on some international prospects that I'm not going to rank, but I'm going to talk about, at least I'll give my opinion on. And then it's going to have some thoughts on graduated prospects. So guys like, Kyle Manzardo, who graduated a year ago, and Cade Smith, who graduated. I think Noel graduated. All those guys who graduated from last year's prospect list, I will write about in a post-graduate style prospect write-up. That's all going to be in the ebook all at one time. Now, the thing on the website is going to be, I'm going to release these day by day. So every day it's going to be the countdown to Major League Spring, or countdown to the regular season. So you're going to get one prospect piece a day. But with the book, you get them all at once, plus the international stuff, plus the graduated prospect stuff, and I'll throw in some bonus content as well, some videos, other fun things. All that's going to be in the ebook. I'm thinking about $5 PayPal. You send me $5 on PayPal on your email. I'll email you the PDF. Let me know if you're interested. I'm going to do that. But if not, you can read it on the website day by day. Some of the bonus stuff won't be on there unless you're already a subscriber. But if you are, I'll get you that stuff. But, happy to be back on Guardians of the Future. Please go and listen to Locked On Guardians every day, so we don't talk about more stuff. But obviously here I can dive into prospect stuff a little bit deeper. We're also going to be doing that over at Locked On Guardians, as if you want to be an insider over there, check that out and join the insiders group for Locked On Guardians. So we'll give you lots of stuff like this over there too, in addition. So lots of fun stuff ahead. Thank you, whoever is listening, for being patient on doing this. I love doing this. I wish I had more time. I'm currently recording this at 12:30 on Wednesday. That's how bad I wanted to get an episode out. I just haven't had the time. But I'm here, and I hope you guys, are still here with me and you like it. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you don't. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what you don't like. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to constructive criticism. I always want to do this more than I usually can add. We might roll it into the insider tier on Locked On Guardians. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely more to come in 2025. I'll try to have a schedule together as best I can for this. But I want to thank you all for sticking with me and all your support over the years with the podcast. Not going anywhere. We're going to have plenty of prospect content. Still going to have plenty of prospect content here. Hopefully some guests and other things like that, and interviews again in 2025. I will be at spring training February 28th through March 3rd. So if you have any ideas of anything you want me to do in spring training, if I can get access to interviews, I'll try. But if there's any videos, any observations you want to know about while I'm there, hit me up, let me know, and I'll try to deliver the best I can for you, because people who listen to this, I know, are mega diehards. I always appreciate you, each and every one of you. And until next time, this has been Guardians of the Future.